For a show as emotionally rich and deeply rooted in subtle storytelling as Heartland, the release of a trailer is more than just a preview. It's a moment, a signal that something special is on its way. But fans of Heartland know that the creators never rush this process. Unlike high-budget dramas that drop explosive trailers months in advance, Heartland takes a softer, more restrained approach. This strategy reflects the heart of the show, its ability to stir emotion not through loud drama, but through quiet, powerful moments. Still, that hasn't stopped fans from searching for every clue they can find. Every time a behind-the-scenes photo surfaces or a cast member posts something cryptic on social media, speculation takes off like wildfire. The anticipation for the Season 19 trailer is growing, and while there's been no official footage released yet, the buzz has never been louder. Based on past patterns, we can expect the trailer to drop just weeks before the actual premiere, most likely around September 2025. This delay in promotional material might seem frustrating, but it's actually part of what makes Heartland so unique. The show trusts its audience. It knows that the fans don't need flashy teasers or explosive reveals to stay interested. Instead, they're hooked on the slow-burning emotion, the evolving characters, and the timeless setting. When the trailer does arrive, it will likely focus more on atmosphere than plot. You won't get spoilers or massive reveals. What you will get is a quiet glimpse into the emotional themes of the season, perhaps a hint at returning characters, a lingering look at Amy, or a distant shot of the ranch that somehow says more than words ever could. As fans wait, theories continue to swirl. Will we see new footage of Lindy taking on a larger role? Will there be any hints at Ty's rumored return? What about Georgie? Could the trailer confirm her comeback or her continued absence? These questions are fueling endless discussions across forums, Reddit threads, and social media fan groups. One thing is clear, the trailer, when it finally comes, won't just be watched. It will be analyzed, broken down frame by frame, and passionately debated. And that's the power of Heartland. Even a few seconds of new content can feel monumental. So, while the waiting game may feel long, it's only building the suspense. The silence isn't a lack of news. It's the calm before the storm. And when that trailer drops, everything will change. As fans continue to scan the horizon for that long-awaited trailer, there's another question that's keeping the Heartland community on edge. When exactly will Season 19 premiere? While CBC hasn't made any official announcements yet, the answer might be hidden in the show's own history. If there's one thing we've learned over the years, it's that Heartland follows a rhythm, a carefully timed pattern that rarely strays from tradition. And that pattern could hold the key to what's coming next. Let's rewind for a moment. Season 18 made its debut in fall 2024, staying true to the series' long-standing preference for autumn premieres. In fact, this timeline has become something of a tradition for Heartland, with new seasons often launching between October and November. This consistent scheduling not only allows fans to settle into a new set of episodes just as the leaves start to fall, but it also gives the production team the breathing room they need to deliver the quality storytelling Heartland is known for. So, what does that mean for Season 19? If the timeline holds, and there's every reason to believe it will, we're looking at a likely premiere window of October or November 2025. That might sound far away now, but behind the scenes, the wheels are already turning. Multiple sources close to the production have hinted that pre-filming preparations are well underway. Script development, location scouting, and early casting decisions may have already begun, quietly laying the foundation for what could be one of the most emotional seasons yet. But there's more to consider. If rumors about this being the final season prove to be true, then the timeline becomes even more critical. Wrapping up a legacy that's been nearly 2 decades in the making is no small task. The writers will need extra time to craft satisfying conclusions to beloved storylines, tie up loose ends, and possibly bring back familiar faces for one last emotional goodbye. That could explain the slightly longer build-up and the radio silence from official channels. Another detail worth noting is the potential return to a 10-episode structure. In recent years, Heartland has maintained this compact format, allowing each episode to carry more weight and meaning. But if Season 19 is indeed a farewell, there's a growing push among fans for an expanded run. Some are calling for a full 15 or even 20-episode arc to truly do justice to the show's legacy. While there's no confirmation yet, CBC is no doubt aware of this demand, and the final decision could depend on budget, filming schedules, and cast availability. Speaking of cast availability, this is where things start to get even more interesting. With so many threads to explore and so many characters whose stories feel incomplete, timing becomes everything. Could the showrunners be delaying the official release date reveal to lock in a returning cast member? Might they be coordinating schedules behind the scenes for a surprise guest appearance that fans will never see coming? These are the kinds of questions that keep viewers up at night, and they're also the kind of questions that Heartland thrives on. Because at its core, Heartland isn't just a show, it's a world, a place where every detail, every glance, and every moment matters. And while the release date for Season 19 might not be official yet, the clues are there. If history is any guide, and if whispers from the set are to be believed, fans should circle the fall of 2025 on their calendars, because that's when the next chapter, perhaps the final one, will begin. If there's one thing that has Heartland fans glued to every scrap of news, it's the cast. Over nearly 2 decades, this show has built not just a story, but a family, both on screen and off. So, as Season 19 approaches, all eyes are on who's returning, who might surprise us, and who may be missing once again. And let's be honest, some of these names could make or break what might be the most emotional season yet. Let's start with the core. Amber Marshall, the heart and soul of the show as Amy Fleming, is expected to return. Her character's journey has anchored Heartland from the very beginning, and her presence is essential, especially if Season 19 turns out to be the final chapter. Amy's growth as a mother, a horse trainer, and a woman finding her strength after loss has connected deeply with audiences. Her storyline is far from over, and fans are hoping that this season brings not just resolution, but a powerful new direction for her character. Next, we have Michelle Morgan as Lou Fleming. Her leadership as mayor, her complex relationship with her daughters, and her evolving personal life have kept her character grounded in reality. Lou brings a different kind of strength to the show, one built on resilience, logic, and fierce love. It's likely she'll return as well, and with all the shifting dynamics, Lou may play a key role in helping guide the family through whatever changes are coming. But now, we step into more uncertain territory. The biggest question mark, without a doubt, is Georgie Fleming Morris, played by Alicia Newton. Georgie was once a central character, especially in the later seasons, captivating fans with her fierce independence and competitive spirit. But in recent years, her presence has faded. In the show, Georgie has been written as pursuing a career in competitive show jumping in Europe, conveniently explaining her absence. But in real life, Alicia Newton's availability has played a major role in this disappearance. As of now, there's been no official confirmation about her return for Season 19. The implications of Georgie's absence go far beyond just her character. If she doesn't return, it directly affects another fan favorite, Quinn, played by Jordan Burchett. Their relationship had a strong arc, but without Georgie, Quinn's character loses context. It would be difficult to justify his return unless both characters are back in the picture. That's why many fans believe it's either both or neither. And unfortunately, it's leaning toward the latter. But not all hope is lost. The writers have cleverly left the door open for Georgie's return. She hasn't been written off completely, and in a show like Heartland, that kind of ambiguity often signals future possibilities. If the producers manage to bring her back, even for a few episodes, it could dramatically shift the emotional landscape of Season 19. A surprise return midway through the season could reignite old dynamics, resolve unfinished arcs, and stir up major developments with other characters. Then there's the younger generation. Lindy, Amy's daughter, is stepping into a more prominent role. As she grows, so does her presence on the ranch and in the story. Lindy may not replace Georgie, but she's clearly being positioned to carry on the Heartland legacy. Viewers have already seen flashes of her personality, brave, curious, and deeply connected to horses. Season 19 might show her beginning to find her path, potentially picking up where Georgie's story left off in spirit, if not in plot. Meanwhile, supporting characters like Jack, Tim, Lisa, Katie, and Peter are all expected to return in some form. Each of them carries history and heart, and their roles could be expanded depending on how the main arcs unfold. But perhaps the biggest wildcard of all remains Ty Borden, played by Graham Wardle. The rumors have not stopped since his exit. Of all the questions swirling around Heartland Season 19, none has captured the imagination or the heartbreak of fans quite like this one. Could Ty Borden actually return? It's a topic that's sparked endless debate, wild theories, and cautious hope. Ty's departure was one of the most emotional turning points in the show's long history, and many viewers still haven't fully come to terms with it. But now, whispers of his return are starting to feel less like fantasy and more like a real possibility. And that's where the mystery begins. For longtime fans, Ty isn't just a character. He's a symbol of everything Heartland stands for: growth, redemption, love, and healing. His journey from troubled teen to devoted husband and father was at the very core of the series. So, when his storyline came to a tragic end, it sent shockwaves through the fan base. The show moved on, and so did Amy, in her own way. But there's always been a space left unfilled. And lately, it seems that space might not remain empty for much longer. It all began with subtle signs. Graham Wardle, the actor behind Ty, has kept a relatively low profile since his departure from the show, but in recent months, his social media activity has raised eyebrows. He's posted cryptic messages, things like full circles, homecomings, and even a few nostalgic nods to his time on Heartland. No outright confirmation, no obvious hints, but enough breadcrumbs to set the fan theories ablaze. Adding fuel to the fire, several crew members have made vague statements in interviews and behind-the-scenes content. One mentioned a moment the fans will never see coming. Another teased a special episode that required extra secrecy during filming. These aren't confirmations, but they're certainly not denials either. In fact, this kind of calculated ambiguity feels very deliberate, like something is being carefully hidden until just the right moment. Now, let's look at the storytelling angle. If season 19 is the final season, and many believe it might be, it would make perfect sense to bring Ty back in some form. It doesn't even have to be a full return. A dream sequence, a letter, a flashback, even a vision. Any of these could offer closure not just for Amy, but for the millions of fans who've walked this journey alongside her. Heartland is, after all, about healing. And what better way to close this chapter than by reconnecting with the man who started it all? One of the most popular theories is that Ty could appear mid-season, around episode 5 or 6. This would follow the classic Heartland pacing, saving a major emotional moment for the heart of the season, giving it time to build and resonate. If this does happen, it could trigger a massive turning point in Amy's story, forcing her to confront the past in a new and unexpected way. It wouldn't just be for shock value, it would be meaningful, emotional, and deeply connected to the themes of the show. Of course, there are practical considerations. Graham Wardle stepped away from the show for personal reasons. He wanted to pursue other creative projects, including his podcast and personal development work. For him to return, even briefly, would mean that something truly significant pulled him back. That alone adds weight to the possibility, because if he does come back, even for a single scene, it will carry emotional impact far beyond what words can describe. And then there's the fan reaction. Online forums are overflowing with speculation. YouTube comments, Reddit threads, Twitter posts, they're all buzzing with hope and nervous anticipation. Some fans are cautious, not wanting to get their hopes up. Others are convinced it's happening. And a few believe that if Ty returns, it will signal not just a reunion, but a full-circle ending to the show's longest-running love story. Whether or not Ty Borden returns, his shadow looms large over season 19. His legacy continues to shape the lives of the characters he left behind, and his memory remains alive in every episode. But if the stars align, and if the show decides to give fans one final gift, then we may yet see Ty Borden ride again, if only for a moment that changes everything. As Heartland season 19 draws nearer, the excitement is matched only by uncertainty. With every passing day, the theories grow louder, the speculation runs deeper, and the hope, quiet but unwavering, continues to burn in the hearts of loyal fans. We've talked about possible returns, production timelines, and that mysterious trailer, but there's one final question that looms larger than all the others. What kind of future does Heartland promise us next? And perhaps more importantly, could this be the final goodbye? Let's start with what we know. Season 19 has been quietly gaining momentum behind the scenes. While CBC hasn't released an official trailer yet, signs suggest that filming is either underway or about to begin. If tradition holds, that trailer might not drop until September 2025, just a few weeks before the premiere. That's been Heartland's style. Build tension slowly, hint at emotion rather than explosion, and let the fans do the rest. When the trailer does arrive, you can expect it to be subtle and heart-centered, filled with fleeting shots of familiar faces, dramatic ranch landscapes, and just enough dialogue to stir the imagination. But beyond the trailer lies something even more pressing: closure. The word has been floating through fan circles like a gentle warning. Season 19 feels different. The energy surrounding it has a sense of finality, of legacy. Could this really be the end of Heartland? For nearly 2 decades, the show has given us a home, a family, and a world we never wanted to leave. But all great stories eventually find their final page. And if Season 19 is indeed that final chapter, then fans are hoping for one thing above all: that it ends with meaning. For many, that means seeing full circle moments. Amy finding peace, not just with Ty's memory, but with her own future. Jack perhaps passing the torch to the next generation, maybe even Lindy. Georgie returning to make things right, or to reclaim her space at the ranch. And maybe, just maybe, that moment when Ty appears either in reality or memory to give Amy the strength to move forward. These aren't just scenes. They're emotional touchpoints that connect the audience to the journey they've followed for years. Another lingering hope is that Season 19 gives space for every character to shine. Lou, Tim, Lisa, Katie, Peter, Caleb all have stories still unfinished. There are friendships to repair, relationships to deepen, and lessons to learn. Heartland has never been about flashy plots or dramatic twists. It's about healing, about finding joy in the small things, and about the deep, complicated love between families, both blood and chosen. And if this is the end, fans want each of those relationships honored with care and grace. One potential focus for the new season could be Lindy. As Amy's daughter, she represents the future, not just for the Fleming family, but for the Heartland legacy itself. The past few seasons have shown her beginning to understand the magic of the ranch, the responsibility that comes with it, and the bond between people and animals that makes Heartland more than just a place. In Season 19, viewers may finally see Lindy step into her role, not as a replacement for anyone, but as a new light in a story that's always been about growth. And what of the ranch itself? The land, the horses, the barns? They've always been more than a backdrop. They're characters in their own right. Heartland has weathered droughts, deaths, and devastating goodbyes, but it's also been a place of healing, redemption, and renewal. If the show does end this season, many fans believe it won't go out with sadness. It'll go out with love, with the sense that life moves forward even when things change. There are still questions left unanswered. Will Georgie and Quinn return? Will Lou's political career come to a crossroads? Will Tim finally find peace in his personal life? And above all, will Amy let herself truly open her heart again? These are the threads that need tying, the stories that demand resolution. And while the creators are keeping those answers tightly under wraps, one thing is certain: Season 19 has the potential to deliver an emotional experience unlike any other in the show's history. Whether it ends this year or not, Heartland Season 19 stands on the edge of legacy. It carries the weight of everything that came before and the promise of what might still come. For fans, the wait continues. But soon, very soon, the next chapter will begin. And when it does, it may just be the most unforgettable ride yet.